The Marconi Bologna Podcast.
Oh, podcast. Hey, it's Marconi, and this is, what is it, Bologna 2.0? I don't really know. I've kind of revamped my podcast schedule and plan on doing podcasts every day again, and this will be my podcast. Sometimes I'll have guests, co-hosts, that kind of stuff. Sometimes I won't. Most of the time I probably won't, but occasionally Sierra Cake might come on, or my friend Nick from other podcasts, and we'll just have fun. You know, the problem has been, honestly, with doing a podcast with other people is that their schedule doesn't always coincide with mine, and therefore we don't always get to do a consistent podcast, and I don't like that. I like to give you something to listen to every day. So I appreciate your patience, but it's finally here, the Bologna Podcast. Hopefully, I won't let you down. Well, I know I probably will right away out of the box, but other than just the consistency is what I'm worried about. I just want to be here, even if it sucks, even if I got nothing. I'll give you something to tune into. You know what I mean? Something to check out, something to download or stream or listen to in some way, form, or fashion. So there you go. Thank you for listening. And I know that you know that I do daily vlogs, so I won't fully go into that spiel. And if you don't know, I do daily vlogs, those on YouTube, of my life. So if you can't get enough of me on podcast, I'm always available for because I am a visual treat. There's no denying that. Should we just start the podcast now? Thank you for listening.
His name is Marconi, and this is the Bologna Podcast.
I was going to see how many squats I could do in a minute, and I have my timer here on my phone. And I've decided that I'm doing squats now while I'm cooking food in the kitchen, and this is how long it's been a while since I've been back in the gym, and I'm ashamed to say it, but it's true. But squatting, I think I either did 30 or 60 squats. I'm going to go with 30 in a minute. But let's see how many squats I can do in 1 minute. I'm just going to get back here a little bit. I'm moving the chair out of the way so there's nothing stopping me. I'm going to start the timer going for 1 minute. All right? Are you with me? And if you're in the mood, go ahead and do some squats with me. Yeah, right. Here we go. And go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. All right. 44 I can do in a minute. That's not bad, right? That's not a squat per second. But I'm going to try that every day. Because if I commit to doing it every day on the show, then eventually I'll get up to 60, right? That would be 1 per second, and maybe even 65. My goal is 60. But I'm already... I'm going to sit down and breathe through my mouth.
Follow Marconi on Twitter at Marconi Bologna. Get lost in his K-hole.
Don Sterling seems to be the biggest jackass on the earth right now. It's all everybody's talking about in the world of sports. He's the owner of the LA Clippers, and in a recorded conversation with his girlfriend, basically revealed that I guess she took a picture with Magic Johnson on Instagram, and he did not like that.
Is there anything that I can do to make you feel better?
No, you can never make me feel better.
I'm sorry.
You're just a fighter and you want to fight. And I'm not the man who wants to fight.
I don't want to fight with you.
Of course you do. You love to fight.
I don't fight.
That's all you do. You fight with everybody.
I'm sorry you feel that way, honey. I don't know how this conversation even came about. You were telling me how people called you and how they mentioned certain things to you and how it bothers you.
Can't you say the few Instagrams I won't? I'll just...
Here you go, honey. A little bit of juice, baby. A little bit of juice for you, honey.
Thank you, Eddie.
It sounds like she's saying honey and baby way too much. Like she knows she's recording, so she wants the world to know how much she adored him and treated him well. I mean, the guy's loaded. He seems like he's not a party regardless. Like, I wouldn't want to be around this guy.
Honey, if it makes you happy, I will remove all of the black people from my Instagram.
You said that before. You said, I understand.
I did remove the people that were independently on my Instagram that are black.
Then why did you start saying that you didn't? You just said you didn't remove them. You didn't remove them.
I didn't move Matt Kemp and Magic Johnson.
Why?
But I thought Matt Kemp is mixed, and he was okay, just like me. He's lighter and whiter than me.
Okay.
I met his mother.
You think I'm a racist? And
I don't think you're a racist.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I think you...
Evil heart.
I don't think so. I think you have an amazing heart, honey. I think the people around you have poisoned mind and have a way of thinking.
It's the world. You go to Israel. The blacks are just treated like dogs.
So do you have to treat them like that too?
The white Jews, there's white Jews or black Jews. Do you understand?
And are the black Jews less than the white Jews?
100%, 50, 100%.
And is that right?
It is the question. We don't evaluate what's right and wrong. We live in a society. We live in a culture. We have to live within that culture.
But shouldn't we take a stand for what's wrong and be the change and the difference?
I don't want to change the culture because I can't. It's too big.
But you can change yourself.
He'll probably be dead in a few years anyway. So why should he start now? He's hated people his whole life. So now why change now?
I don't want to change. If my girl can't do what I want, I don't want the girl. I'll find a girl that will do what I want. Believe me. I thought you were that girl. Because I try to do what you want.
I mean, believe me, there's not one person that's with this guy for his personality, for his looks. It's all about one thing, the moolah. That's why he's there. That's why she's there. That's why he can get a hot-looking girl like that. You should see the bling that's all over her hands. All she cares about is the money. There's not one thing about this guy that this woman could be attracted to besides that.
But you're not that girl.
There's no need to get upset. No need to get...
I just see what I'm living with, what I'm dealing with.
I'm sorry, I didn't do anything.
You know, you never do anything and never anything wrong.
But I didn't do anything.
You upset me.
You made yourself upset.
No, that's not true. You didn't start off by saying, honey, I understand we're living in a culture. We can't
Because I don't see your views. I wasn't raised the way you were raised.
Well, then, if you don't feel, don't come to my games. Don't bring black people and don't come.
Do you know that you have a whole team that's black that plays for you?
Do I know? I support them and give them food and clothes and cars and houses. Who gives it to them? Does someone else give it to them? Do I know that I have? Who makes the game? Do I make the game or do they make the game? Is there 30 owners that created the league?
I'm not going to bring any black people to the stadium.
Well, is it easy to say that?
It's very easy for you to say that.
For you to say that?
I won't say that to anyone. I would never ask anyone not to bring someone based on race or color.
Okay.
Magic Johnson was mentioned in the first tapes, and here's what he had to say about Don Sterling.
Well, I think fans should definitely be upset, and African Americans definitely should be upset and not even go to the game because he said he don't want us there. And I know I'll never go back to a Clipper game as long as he owns the team. And I'm very disappointed and upset because, you know, I've known Donald since 1979. Actually, Dr. Buss took me to that was the first event I went to, he gave his annual Malibu Beach House party. And then I met with him in his office. I've broken bread with him at lunch, and I've come to the games and watched the Clipper games with him over the course of, and he's always questioned me about his team and wanted my opinion. And now for me to look at this guy and say all along, you know, he was racist and didn't want me really around, and other African Americans around, is very disappointing, and I'm very upset.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, this guy. I mean, you own an NBA team and you're racist. And the other thing is I guess he's been accused of this before, and he's always denied it. And he's had allegations and people trying to sue him and all kinds of stuff. But to me, the guy should be taken out of the NBA because, you know, just because you're rich doesn't mean you can say whatever you want, racist or not, and continue on. It should be done. And this guy obviously isn't a fit leader, and he owns the Clippers, but that doesn't make him better than anyone. He doesn't want his girlfriend bringing black people to the game. That's the most. It's 2014, man. Could you just die already?
Marconi Bologna.
The FDA wants to regulate e-cigarettes, and I'm for it. Honestly, I don't really know what goes into e-cigarettes. I know that they still have to have the chemicals of nicotine in there. It doesn't seem natural, and people walking around with things that look like pins, well, steam or some kind of plumage is coming out of their mouths. It seems weird and obnoxious to me. And many places, like Los Angeles, I believe it's banned. You can't. Is it Los Angeles, New York? One of the two. You can't smoke e-cigarettes anywhere you want. It is annoying, though, even though, like, most people don't really care. Like, you don't really care as much because it's not smoke. It doesn't stink. It doesn't feel like you can't breathe. But we also don't really know the long-lasting effects of e-cigarettes. So while you're at a health food place or just eating your food or at a movie and somebody's just, you know, puffing away on what looks like a giant mechanical pen or something, you know, I'm not into it. So the Food and Drug Administration is proposing that they would like to regulate the e-cigarette. And it's only right. Honestly, it's something that should be, you know, dealt with. And because the thing is, people have gotten to a point where I don't know why we have trust in people that make things that go into our bodies. Like, there has been no history of us being able to rely on people making products that we utilize that go into our systems that would show us that everything's okay. I mean, for years, you know, we eat this and that, and then we find out, oh, that causes cancer because they put nitrates into this, or they, you know, hot dogs are horrible for you. Well, you know what I mean? Like, when you go to the grocery store and pick up food now, you got to go, oh, is that nitrate free? Is this and that? Is it organic? And so for years we've been being lied to so these companies could make more money while we eat their crappy food. So why would a non-regulated e-cigarette have any problems putting chemicals in there that they don't have to worry about? Am I right? I don't know why it could be not approved by the FDA before it goes into your body. I guess technically it's not food. Maybe I don't know. But it's a drug if you think about tobacco as a drug. So I don't know. I hope they do. Honestly, I could do without people puffing away on pins as an alternative to smoking. I don't like it. It seems cavalier. It seems like the people are just kind of, douchebags sitting there smoking next to you on a pin, sucking on a pin, blowing out what looks the same as smoke in your face. I don't want that. I'm sorry I have friends who smoke and many friends who are trying to quit with the e-cigarette and stuff. And I get that. And if you're genuinely trying to quit something, I understand. But look, as a guy who doesn't smoke, it isn't my thing. And I'm not saying I've never smoked before, but the e-cigarette just seems like it's kind of like it's a crutch. I will have a cigarette occasionally. Like if I'm having drinks. Like a couple of weeks ago, my friend came into town, and we sat around, and I had a few beverages, and I'm like, oh, she had a cigarette, and I was like, yeah, maybe I'll have one too. But after that, I don't crave one anymore, and I'm not looking for one when I'm sitting here at home by myself. But the e-cigarette, to me, is something that the Food and Drug Administration should regulate, just like Nate Dogg and Warren G. Nate Dogg and Warren G came to regulate. It should be like that. You know that song? The FDA wants to regulate. I'm going to shut my microphone off now.
Marconi Bologna.
I noticed this story, and sometimes I'll see a story in the news, and I don't even really fully check into the story because it just reminds me of a story I can tell. So that's really what the news is, to propel me into telling you stories. And this one in particular is in New York City. A landlord is accused of trashing apartments to boot rent-regulated tenants. And I guess he's going to get a subpoena by Governor Cuomo there in New York. Basically, like in New York, a lot of people from the old school have a rent-controlled apartment. And before a lot of these new rules came in, like you couldn't even have this kind of situation in most new apartments now, especially on the West Coast and stuff. But in New York, they still have these old school grandfathered in laws and stuff. Like if you have an apartment that's rent controlled, and most apartments in New York City are no dream place to live. They're small, but some people, that's all they need, and that's their life. That's what they know. But so apparently, this lady, I guess, had a rent controlled apartment, and maybe she's paying like $400 a month when now the going rate in where she lives could be like $3,000 or more. But these landlords are like, God, the new people are paying this. And this lady's like paying $400, so apparently they did some trashing of the apartment, or did, or also like these places. There's all kinds of stuff they'll do, like they won't fix certain things. They know their laws, what they can get away with, and they'll neglect, updating the apartment. While this lady could have been living there for 60 years or something. The guy next door has a brand new all fixtures, everything's beautiful. All the appliances are brand new, but this lady's living with the original, whatever she got when she moved in 60 years ago. I don't know how the rules go. But I do know, like at my apartment, I like it good enough, but there's a lot of things that suck. But one of the things is like they keep, and they always do this in a rental apartment. Maybe somebody can explain why, because I should ask my dad because he knows so much stuff. Why every time like I've lived in these apartments where I'm at, I'm going on 3 years. And every time I update, now I've moved since, and I live in a bigger place than I did when I first started in here, because basically Sierra moved in. She moved into her own apartment in the same complex area, and then we moved in together. So I had already lived here for a couple of years. And when we moved in, my rent for a bigger apartment at the time was less than they were trying to have me pay after living in the same one bedroom for 2 years. So what I'm saying is they were trying to squeeze out of me more money than I was going to have to put down to move into a 2-bedroom. Now, I don't understand that. Like, I get, the idea of a business getting as much money as you can. Now, most people don't live in apartments forever, but then there are some people, like this lady in this story we're bringing up, she could live there for like 30 years or something. But that doesn't happen a lot because the climate of apartments, most people move. Because that's the greatest thing about apartments is you get a lease, and then when the lease is up, you can move somewhere else. You don't have to sell the house, you just leave. It's beautiful. But I just keep, and they nickel and dime you. Like if they need a light bulb change, they'll charge you $10 for the light bulb. But then if you try to replace the light bulb, when you move out, you have to pay for it anyway at the end. So, or it's a light bulb so expensive that in some of these fixtures they have, that it's easier just to have them do it than because I'm no electrician, and some of these lights are in these fixtures. And I'm like, if I break this, then I'm paying to have it fixed on top of the lights and the whole thing. I don't own this place, So apartments is just a big racket. And so I'm glad that somebody is coming down on somebody screwing around with tenants. And this lady has lived there for years. She's going on 30 years in this apartment. Now, when she moved in, what she was paying was like a regular thing. And I'm looking at this apartment, and the floor is just abolished and falling through. And it just seems like people will do anything to get somebody to move out. It just seems the opposite of what a home should be. You should be welcoming people in. Instead of that, it's just a racket to make money. And I understand wanting to make money or having a business, but wouldn't it be great to live somewhere where people actually wanted you, and it wasn't just about the dollar? It was about having a happy place, not because you spent $5,000 a month on a penthouse suite, but in a regular place that an average Joe could afford. That's what we need. More places like that. It's not a dump. It's a nice place. Like where I live, it's a nice enough place. It's not like it's a new place, and it's sort of built like a resort, if you will, like an old person retirement community. But it's not. It's not like that, and it's a weird. Apartments are weird, and you never know what you're going to get until you move in. Like everything could look great when you do the walkthrough and everything, but live there for a couple of months, and you know all the crap that's wrong and what you need to look for in your next apartment. And we should all just buy houses in the suburbs. Is that the only answer? God.
Marconi, the Bologna Podcast.
So dead people now get lifelike posed at their funerals. This is weird, and I saw some of these pictures. Now, what this is talking about is, say you're a boxer, right? And instead of laying you in a casket, you're stood up with your, they have those shiny, satiny hoodies that they put on with their names all over them and the boxing gloves. Well, the funeral, this particular place, will put your loved one together so they're standing up like they're a superstar champion, And they'll have sunglasses on so you can't see their eyes or anything, because it would be kind of weird to have, it's already weird enough, but having them stand up with their eyes closed, that's kind of creepy too. So, and then this is the creepiest one. There's a guy that loved motorcycling, and he was placed on his motorcycle with the helmet sitting on the back. He's got his hat on, and he's hunched over with his hand. It's weird, right? So, I mean, I don't care if that's the way you want to go. You're dead. You don't have to deal with it. I have to go to your creepy ass funeral. I don't want that. Am I right? Seriously though, right? It's creepy, and we're filling up the earth with dead people in ceremony, and if in these cemeteries and stuff. People are spending way too much on plots, and Just get cremated. You know? I mean, come on. It is creepy, and I think that if you, I can't even imagine, but if I did it, I would probably do it. Like, what if your dream, like if you're a YouTuber, and you just wanted to be videoed every single day? Like, I'm doing vlogs every single day on YouTube. What if I just wanted my dead body shown on YouTube every day, and somebody had to, like, turn on the camera and then post a YouTube video or stream me just standing there? Just a loop of me forever and ever. Could that be done? Could they? I mean, that's like what they do with animals when the taxidermist does the thing. Stuffed. Yeah. It's creepy. Stop it.
Follow the Bologna blog on Tumblr at marconibologna.com. Enjoy the magic.
It's been a while since I've really cooked something that I was super proud of. When you make that one dish and you're really more proud of it. Sometimes even when you're just trying to make something at home and it goes well, even if somebody else isn't there to try it. I recently decided I was going to get filet mignon and make that. So I have never made it before on my own, and it's delicious at the restaurant or whatever. And so I just looked it up on YouTube. This lady called Dishin' with Dye. And she's a lady, I'm guessing she seems like she's someone from her accent I detect from the East Coast, either from like Washington or like Philadelphia or something. But either way, I think she's a mom. Pretty hot, actually. Dishin' with Dye is her name. And I looked up just randomly how to make filet mignon. And she ran me through it so easily. And it's so simple. You just heat up your oven. And then you get a skillet ready. And she suggests using like one of those cast iron skillets. I don't have one of those, so I didn't do that. But basically coating the piece of meat at room temperature with vegetable oil. She says that olive oil doesn't do well at high heat, so she didn't use that. So I use coconut oil, which is meant there's a coconut oil for high heat. So I did that, and then you cover it in fresh ground pepper, and then you take a pinch of salt, and a couple of pinches, and you just cover the entire thing with that. And then it's just simple, like timing on the skillet. And then once you've done a couple of minutes on each side, and then 1 minute on the outsides, and then you put it in the oven for 5 minutes. And I'm telling you, it's the most delicious thing I've ever eaten. Like, I've eaten some, in Portland, like Ringside, the Veritable Quandary. What's this? There's another steakhouse that I love. There's so many really good, like Morton's. I've eaten some amazing, beautiful pieces of steak just to die for in Portland. But I'll tell you, what I made was comparable, and I was not disappointed. Usually I get a piece of meat, and I'm just like, I have so much thought of hope in my eye and my mind. I'm like, I can do this. And sometimes and I'll go by these cooking shows, and they'll say, sometimes the best recipes are the simplest. And so I'll just put like a little butter and then maybe some salt and pepper. But it never turns out, and it's always like, tough in the middle. And I'll get a good piece of meat. Like, I'll even go to Whole Foods and get a good piece of meat. And I'll tell you what I did this time. They have like a sliver of a section at Walmart, and it's grass-fed beef. And right next to that is like the same company that produces these fillets. They have steaks and fillets, and it's all like, organic, grass-fed, whatever. But, even at Walmart, you can get some of this stuff. And it was, I've seen it at, it's the same stuff. Like, if you go to Whole Foods, it'll cost you like 3 times as much. So they have it at Whole Foods, but at Walmart, it's like, $6. So there I am. And I put it together, and I'm like, oh, my God. And the only thing that disappointed me is because I just tried to make one of these before Sierra left, and it bombed. And I only wish she could be here to taste, because it was so incredible. So, if I find that, I'll tweet the link. Just search filet, how to make the perfect filet mignon, and look for addition with die. I think it's just DI. It's really awesome, and I'm thinking about, and I have a filet thawing right now. I was going to make it tonight, but I think I'll wait. I just torture myself because I want it that much more. I'm edging with my meat. Wait, what?
Marconi Bologna.
Well, there you have it. The revamped, newly retooled, and rejuvenated Bologna podcast. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to do my best to make sure you get something to listen to each and every day. Well, at least Monday through Friday, or Monday through Thursday. At least 4 times a week, okay? You know, the pressure is on, and I'm going to do it. I'm already doing YouTube vlogs every day. Why not a podcast too, right? Why not just pile it on? You know, why not I bake a cake for you every day and come to your house and make you dinner? Would that make you happy? Wait, why am I yelling at you again? I love you. Thanks for listening. Tomorrow, next time. Thanks. We'll see you. Bye.
The Bologna Podcast.